So this was never a single, but
right?
I've seen it described as, if not the essential track, one of the essential tracks that you have to have.
Hmm.
Apparently it's Dave writing about his ex-girlfriend Diana, and I guess there are a lot of songs based off of her
Oh yeah,
and their
Wake Up Dead.
relationship.
Yeah, Wake Up Dead on the album on Peace Sells, but Who's Buying, which is the first song on that album. He actually says her name.
Okay.
Yeah, Diana. It's just such a dumb song. It's all solos, right? The whole thing is just a big long solo, and there's barely any lyrics. And he's just like, he talks about coming home late because he's been with some other girl or something like that. Um, it's kind of dumb, but it works. But I was unaware that this Tornado of Souls was about her
Yeah.
or
And
anyone.
again, only from quick online research. So someone
Yeah,
could come
sure.
back and say, like, that's what
BS.
this group thinks it is. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that the
yeah.
fact check is there for anyone that would like to go further or to educate me on that.
Yeah.
But I guess what really stands out about this track, 5 minutes, 22 seconds,
Yeah, dude.
there is Marty Friedman's guitar solo that has been noted as one of the best metal guitar solos of all time and one of the hardest songs to play on guitar. And I believe it goes from about 307 until 418. And if you look at it on YouTube of where people go back to replay something, it is a huge crescendo mountainous thing
Yeah.
right there because everyone goes back to
Everyone goes
listen
to it.
to Marty's solo.
Yeah, dude, I looked on Spotify too, and like all these songs have like millions of views, right? Or millions of listens. This one in particular has like leaps and bounds uh like listens than any of the other songs on there. Like it's like my phone's not showing it, but yeah, it's like everybody else is in the like single digit millions, and I think this one's in like the triple digit millions, or it's close.
And
Um,
this is one of those iconic guitar solos that uh,
yeah,
just it's fun to go back and listen to again and again. And I can't imagine, as someone who owns a guitar but can't say I play a guitar, listening to that, I'm just like, holy shit, I can't even get like these notes down this slowly, and I'm listening to him.
yeah. Okay. So this is the song that I accidentally talked about, like 45 minutes ago, whatever, half hour ago. So, edit that the way you will. But I was gonna mention this too because doing what little research I did today, I did read about how Marty was like invited into the band, right? And there was a lot of Dave had thought about Dimebag. He wanted Dimebag in the band. He asked him, but Dimebag was like, "No, I'm not coming unless my brother comes."
Yeah, he wanted the drummer to come with.
Yeah, which makes sense because they were so tight. But Dave was like, "No way, whatever." And then got like uh I could talk about this forever. So I don't know what kind of time restraint we're on here, but
There's never a time restraint. Like if this is your story and what this does for you, this is
yeah,
beautiful stuff.
the way Dave talks about people is so weird. I've always thought this. It's like he has a really hard time. Uh, he's always. It seems like he's just like left hand compliments, like almost accidentally, like all the time or whatever. And so like he'll be he'll be speaking Marty Friedman's phrases, but then he can't stop himself from saying like, yeah, but he had the worst clown hair I've ever seen, so that's why like you know what I mean. He can't help but just add that little that little jab or whatever. Even the people he's talking really good about, but he talked about how like he was looking at like Cacophony CD or whatever that because that was one of Marty's uh, uh like Marty's projects or whatever, and he just he just didn't even he looked at the cover and he's like, this guy's got two color hair. He looks like a freak, a clown. I can't remember what he called him. He had a whatever, some stupid name he called him. Uh, and like he just refused to listen to it. He wouldn't even listen to it just because of Marty's hair. And then I read another thing where he was just like, yeah, so whatever, so I listened to it finally, and I was just like, oh, he wants to be in Megadeth, you know what I mean? And like, and so he goes on to compliment him about his guitar playing, like, oh my God, Marty's such a good guitar player. I felt like I sucked. But then he would come back and he'd be like, so we made him change his stupid hair, and then we worked on his hygiene a little bit. And you're like, Jesus Christ, Dave, dude, what are you doing, man? Uh, but uh but then from Marty's perspective, he talks about it like he's very new to everything, and then he writes this solo, and Dave hears it for the first time, and like Dave doesn't even, like, he's almost speechless. He just like reaches out and gives him a handshake, like, well, like, holy shit, you know what I mean? You've done it. And like reading all that today, I did the same thing that everybody else does on YouTube. I went back and I just listened to that section, you know what I mean? I just listened to that solo, knowing suddenly what I know now, And I had knew in a roundabout way that, the story kind of went like that, but I didn't really ever like dive into, okay, well, it starts at 3 minutes and it's on Tornado of Soul, right? You know what I mean? And dude, you listen to that and you're just like, this is so insane. There's no way that you can listen to this and not feel something.
Well, and how is a human doing this?
Yeah, well, there's that too, but there's all kinds of things that go through your brain. Like, how do you write something like this? How do you make it sound like as meaningful, as it does? You know what I mean? Like, it fits like a glove inside of those weird ass riffs. It's emotive. It's played perfectly. There's 1,000 notes per second in there. And it takes you on, it does exactly what a solo is supposed to do. It takes you on this ride where you're just like, that not very many people are capable of taking you, and so that's why so many people listen to this goddamn song.
Yeah, it's
and
awesome.
as and they should.
You alluded to it. I wrote down how Marty described it. So there's a martyfriedman.com, and it's an old website.
Sure.
And there's like archive details, like PHP, like it. I went to it and I was just like, oh, I probably have a lot of infection on my computer now. But how he described it through his words was, when I finished the solo to this one, Mustaine came into the studio, listened to it down once, turned around, and without saying a word, shook my hand. It was at that moment I felt like I was truly the guitarist for this band.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And that's on that analog. Like, can you imagine playing that solo?
Hell no.
To a reel.
No.
And doing that,
solo,
that's insane.
I mean, that's the type of solo that makes you, I should just go in and light all my guitars on fire. You know what I mean? I'm a hack, and that's, not especially these days, not very often do I listen to something that makes me feel like I should just hang it up.
Well, and I mean, I don't know. I don't listen to all the same stuff. I don't feel like we get as many great guitar solos anymore.
It's debatable.
I'll say through the stuff that I listen to is probably the safer way to say it.
We do, but I always feel like I'm on the search for somebody that's so good at playing guitar. Like that's one of the reasons like I like Slash so much, is he's so emotive. Like he's super emotive, right? There's only, in the last bunch of years or whatever, there's only a handful of albums that I've listened to or bought that have made me feel the way that like Metallica and Megadeth and a lot Judas Priest make me feel with their Guns N' Roses. Like, I mentioned Slash all the time because and you have to, and it feels cliche to do so almost, but like, no one's writing November Rain. You know what I mean? Like, the solos on that thing are, I mean, dude, like, You can
And I think
feel
that's more of what I'm saying. It
yeah,
doesn't get the spotlight moment that a November Rain has, where even in the video you have him in front of the church
yeah,
and it's him.
and it's a big deal. And every note that he plays is perfect. It emotes the exact feeling that that song needed and begs for. And there's not a lot of people that are that great at it. Rust in Peace is a little bit more manic than that, like obviously, but they do a perfect job of telling a story inside of each of those solos, kind of, which I think
Yeah.
is it's insane to do. The last album that I that's standing out to me in my mind is a band called Shining, that came out with an album a lot of years ago, called like Homestead. I think it's Shining 5 Homestead. And that's the closest thing that I found to anything close to the guitar playing that it's like a depressive black metal band kind of,
Okay.
but the guitar work on that and the guitar solos on that are some of the most expressive I've heard uh in recent, like some of the best I've heard, especially in recent years.
Well, and that's
um
one I'll have to check out because that is not in my regular rotation
It's a crazy one.
style
Let me
there.
warn you. I have to warn you that like the dude's vocals, he sounds like Bobcat Goldthwait. You know what I mean? And like, so it's a little weird. But if you can wrap your brain around it, the guitar playing in that is insane. It's so good.
Awesome.
Anyways, yeah,
Well, and now we go from that elevated guitar solo that is one of the most iconic ever done, especially in the metal genre, but probably anywhere. And now we go to track 8,
yeah,
Dawn Patrol.
yeah.